instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Fawler and Scott McLeod. Well, welcome to the Flagstick Podcast. I am Jeff Fawler. He is Scott McLeod. The Flagstick Podcast is brought to you by TaylorMade Golf. What if the golf ball you're using isn't the number one golf ball for you? Meet the all-new TP5 and TP5X from TaylorMade. Whether you prefer the softest 5-layer tour ball in TP5 or the fastest, that's now a half club longer in TP5X, you'll be playing a golf ball that performs like it was built just for you. Available in white, yellow, and picks, you can personalize with my symbol. No matter which you choose, every TP5 and TP5X is designed to help your game. Head to TaylorMadeGolf.ca to find the number one golf ball for you. As always, we want to make sure that you are following us across social media, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. We really do encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us, and click the notification bell. Make sure you don't miss a single episode of this podcast or anything else we put up there, because we've started putting new stuff up there. If anybody hasn't noticed, the Flagstick Academy is now live and getting a lot of interest. So we're excited about that. Scotty Mac. We won't get into details of anything that you've been doing, but you were away yesterday, which is why we're recording today. And we'll just call it
product testing that we'll talk about in the future.
We love product testing.
It was very interesting, but embargo lifts on August 1st, and then I'll have more details after that.
All right, so we'll save it. We'll save the discussion about that for when the embargo lifts and we can start talking. We're a lot of stuff's been gone on the last week. Obviously, we're a little bit behind in recording, but no big deal. We're still going to have everything out to everybody. You know, you won't even notice. You won't have noticed anything. See, as we're recording this podcast, we're going to release it with the newsletter, as we always do. And everybody's going to get their newsletter and see it on the website at the same time they always do. You're not even going to notice. I didn't even have to say anything. You wouldn't have noticed the damn thing. We like to be transparent here on the Flagstick Podcast.
There you go.
We hold nothing back. There's no secrets. This is my real hair.
Except we just talked about something we're keeping secret.
Yeah, but that's not us keeping a secret.
Okay, that's right.
That is the embargo is placed on us.
Yes,
so
okay.
That's
Fair
not
enough.
us. It's not our secret. They're
all
secret.
Good.
We're solid. We're very solid. Okay. So we're going to get you caught up on some things that have been going on over the last week, because a lot of stuff is happening. This is sort of the golf season, and stuff does happen, and it's we call it silly season, because it's just silly.
It's nonstop.
It's go. It's day after day after day. It's week after week, tournament after tournament. It won't stop until we fall over in September.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's how it works. Hey, we signed up for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
We both signed the contract.
Okay, fair enough.
Signed the contract. We're not going into free agency here. We signed the unlimited contract. But we're going to get you caught up on the front nine, and on the back nine, we're changing it up. We got mixing it up a little bit. You did an interview with Jay Fawler, who is from the PGA Tour Pathways. Yeah. And as the PGA Tour Americas starts their North American swing, we're going to we thought it would be a good time to bring on Jay and to talk about some of the things that he's working on with the PGA Tour Americas. So that's going to be pretty cool. That's an interview with Jay Fawler in the back nine with Scott, and we'll get to that. But first, we're going to get to the front nine, presented by Metcalf Golf Club. A natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season is here. Yes, it is indeed, and it's a warm one. So don't wait. Get on the wait list for memberships and leagues, or purchase some game passes to get your season off to the right start. Save compared to regular green fees every day. Visit metcalfgolf.com to shop for those now. All right. Front nine time. Tip it up. Let's go. Get a rip.
And we're talking, and I'm still adding stuff in here.
I know. I can see you. Okay, so it's a live screen here. There's a live Google Doc open, and all I see is a purple Scott McLeod typing away. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Knock it off, man.
I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I'm sorry. There's stuff happening in Japan. There's all sorts of stuff going on.
Okay, right off the top,
Yeah.
Flagstick.com shootout presented by Cobra Puma Golf at Smuggler's Glen is coming up July 13th and 14th. Why are you not signing up for this tournament? Come
Sign
on.
up, people.
Okay, I have
talk to you. I'll talk to a whole bunch of you people. You need to finish signing up.
I have ordered all the registration gift items. I've ordered all the prizes, and let me tell you right now. Let's get this out of the way. What do you get for your $255 entry fee? Well, here's what you get. You get 36 holes of golf at Smuggler's Glen Golf Course, which is one of the top-rated golf courses in the province, let alone in the country.
Yeah.
You get a steak dinner on the Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
You get range balls before every round on the driving range. This is all for your $255, okay?
You're already pretty much even at that point. Yeah.
You get a registration gift. And in this registration gift, you get your choice of 4 or 5 different Puma polos. Beautiful golf shirts, these things. You get a Puma P golf cap. You get a Puma belt. You get a Puma Pro towel. And there's some choices there. I think there's 4 or 5 different styles.
Okay.
You get a dozen golf balls.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's real good.
That's what you get for $255.
Yeah.
So go and buy the golf shirt and the hat. Now you're about halfway there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, and you get, on top of all that, you get an unbelievable weekend experience. The tee times are not super early in the morning. So as much as it's great to come and stay, bring the family, bring your buddies, 4 buddies, book a room at the Glen House Resort. That's what we do. We stay on site. Very simple. Good rates, good facility, but you can drive back and forth from Ottawa or from Belleville or from,
for sure.
You know, if you're coming from Toronto, maybe it's a little too far, but you can drive back and forth from a lot of places to get there. But I would suggest that you do the weekend thing. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, just hang out and see everyone.
Who knows? You might run into us on the, by the fire pit down by the water. We're just, chilling.
Yep.
You
get to hang out with us. Hang out with us. What better?
Weekend. Okay, so we should put that in there too. You get for your $255 the opportunity to hang out with these guys.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's worth the $255 on its own. So that's what we're all about here. Like,
not what our wives would say, but
yeah. Exactly. Go to flagstick.com, go to flagstickshootout.com, register. Now, what's the deal with the Flagstick Shootout? Oh, it's for top level golfers. No, it's not your typical ABCD tournament like the Flagstick Open. No, it's a little bit tighter because it's a smaller field. We have 72 player field available to us, not more. Yep. We don't want really less, but no more than 72, which means we can't accommodate 4 different divisions because we'd have 10 people in each division.
Yeah, we want pace of play to be good, everything that way too. So
it's basically index 10 or less. And even if you're a 12 and you want to play, we're not going to kick you away. That becomes up to you. It's still a competitive term. 2 divisions. Mm-hmm. Call it A and B if you want, but it's Division 1, Division 2. You're all playing from the same tees on the same golf course. You're just playing in 2 separate divisions, and there's an overall title.
Yep, exactly.
So it's just we're doing it that way just so that those that are a little higher indexes don't feel like, oh well, I'm going to finish dead last at a 72. No, you could finish somewhere within your division. There's a good mix going on right now. There's some plus indexes. And there's some 6s, there's some 7s, there's some 8s, there's some 3s. Like, it's going to be, and Smugglers is probably one of the most humbling golf courses that good players play, particularly because it can take a 3 index to their knees. But a 10 index can also have a good day or a good weekend.
There's lots of opportunities on there for scoring, so it's just a fun layout if you haven't played it before. Even the players for the Golf Ontario U17 a couple years ago, the players just raved about it. The coaches that were there raved about it and said, what a fun golf course it was. Lots of eagle opportunities. There's some drivable par 4s, lots of different things, and it feels like you're hanging out at the cottage. What a perfect time to do it in July. So.
Exactly. So do it. Sign up. Flagstick.com, flagstickshootout.com. Any questions? Hit either Scott or I up on the social, on the DMs.
Yep, exactly.
Or message us or call me. You can
Yep.
find my cell number anywhere. All right, so do that. Okay. Little U.S. Open talk. As you can see, for those watching, the Pinehurst #2 visor. Got this the last time I was at Pinehurst, which was not this past week at the U.S. Open.
No.
But
so what were your general thoughts?
I broke this up. You know what?
We got a lot to get
loved
to
it,
here.
Loved it. Loved everything about it. Gonna go out on a limb here and love the fact that Bryson won.
Mm-hmm.
I think that for golf, throw the live stuff aside right now. When it comes to somebody who truly engaged with the public, and it didn't distract him from the job at hand, and the public loved it. Bryson is good for golf.
Yep, okay? It's performance plus entertainment.
That's irrelevant. Yeah. He comes over and he's done well in all the majors over here. He's done well. There's no reason if he was playing regular PGA Tour that he wouldn't be right up there with Scheffler in FedEx and all that kind of stuff. That's great. But for what Scheffler is as a dominant player on the PGA Tour right now, Bryson is the boisterous, lively, because you remember Tiger Woods back in the day when Tiger was dominating back in the day. Oh yeah, he was like, forget the people. I'm in my office. I'm doing my business. Back off. And Phil Mickelson was kind of like that anti-Tiger, a little more showy. Which I got sick of after a while. He's always going around.
Many people did.
Thumbs up. But Bryson is just like, and you see all the videos now of him taking it. He's in downtown Nashville, taking the U.S. Open into some like just the stuff he's doing. Like it's just so cool how he's engaging with everybody.
And he's actually had higher finishes in the majors that he's played in versus the other tour that he's actually played in. He's actually played
tour is a joke.
Horrible over there.
Here's the thing. All those guys are great golfers. So nothing to take anything away
from not at all.
Or DJ I think is on his way down, but I think DJ is kind of one of those guys he's just gotten too comfortable with it over there.
Sure.
Bryson still feels like he's trying to achieve greatness.
Yeah, I agree.
And he, as he said in one interview, he always felt like he's here to give something back to the game. Like he's and this is what he's giving. He's giving the other side of everything. I'm doing it differently. I got different clubs. I swing differently. I play differently. And I'm going to act differently too. And I like the fact that he's embraced. It's not a villain role. This is not what he's embraced. He's not embracing the villain role. He's embracing the public role. He's the people's champion. And people like him. That's just, and I'd love to see him live and come back over and be on the PGA Tour and do great things over here instead of going and playing charity scrambles over there. But it's just, it is what it is. You accept it and love the fact that he's over. Now, why is he not on the Olympic team? That's the world ranking thing and a topic for another day, but it's dumb. Anyway, so that's a Bryson thing. Let's talk about the Canadians.
Yeah. Big finish, good finish, strong finish, important finish.
Yes.
By Corey Connors, T9. Slipped him barely past Adam Hadwin, and he will represent Canada alongside Nick Taylor at the Paris Olympics. So, great play by Corey. They had made that one par 4 drivable, and he drove it, made eagle in that one day. He wasn't fully in the mix, but he certainly was there. Taylor Pendrith played well as well. Just nice to see those Canadians, playing well at those majors. Just gives you hope, I guess, for the rest of the year, and we'll see what happens at Royal Troon. But congratulations to Corey and Nick Taylor. They will represent Canada later on this summer.
Now, see, this is a perfect example, just the quick Olympic thing. Corey earned a spot on the Olympic team, and rightfully so. And Corey has been playing really well as of late. So it's good to see that not that Adam is not playing well, but Corey deserves to be on that Olympic team right now based on the way he has been playing. So it's good to see that he's there. When you look at other nations, There's players playing on Olympic teams that, because it's based on world rankings, and a lot of that, it's over it's not over just what's happened in the last 6 months, or it goes back a little further.
2 years. Yeah.
To me, is ridiculous. Why you're basing your Olympic position, your Olympic team. If you look at swimming or track and field or soccer or anything like that, they have to qualify the year of the Olympics. It's not.
Yeah, the only thing now is the only thing now is they have changed the world rankings, and the fact that it's a lot more points based on current stuff versus that previous year.
Right, but clearly your second best golfer in the United States is not on that Olympic team.
Possibly.
I mean, I don't see any reason why Bryson DeChambeau shouldn't be on that Olympic team on the basis just on the basis of how he's performed in the majors this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a pretty incredible miss, in my opinion. But it's my opinion.
That's the rules. So I mean, that's what he signed up for.
The rules.
That's what he signed up for. So
I know we always go back to that. When he went to live, he knew what he was
made his
getting
choice.
into, and this is the way it is. So he's accepted it. I don't see him complaining about it at all.
No, exactly.
Kind of like the whole Caitlin Clark thing. She's not complaining about not being on the Olympic team. Everybody else is complaining about her not being on the Olympic team. So
exactly,
you should complain about me not being on the Olympic team. People's champ right here. Okay.
All
right. So let's do a little recap here. Monday, this past Monday, at the Meadows Golf and Country Club, the Flagstick.com PGA of Ottawa Tour had the Pro-Pro event. Different format this year, 27 holes. Yeah, it was hot. That's why I didn't stay all day. 3 different formats: better ball, Chapman, scramble, 40-team field, which was great to see.
It was
good, strong field of pros. What was I going to say? I was going to say something.
I mean, you were there for a while for the tee off. I don't know how long you stayed.
I stayed. Tee off. There was a last hour of tee times. I left. You guys had already teed off. A bunch of us. I wanted to say hi to some people. I was going to come back, but I had business to attend to.
All good.
But it was a warm, hot day out there.
I didn't. You were out there for a long time.
Yeah. So. Well, that's a long. I mean, tournament golf in itself is can be considerably longer or a little bit longer than normal, casual golf. But 27 holes out there in that.
Yeah, it was smoking. I mean,
and there was there was this tournament in front of you.
Correct. Exactly.
Really, and I would say the tournament in front of you was a scramble.
Yeah. And I would say the pace wasn't bad. It's just the fact that it's 27 holes and it's competitive golf. So it's a lot of focus for a long time. I mean, I didn't get out of there until 9:30, didn't get home till like 11:30. So it just takes a lot out of you from a body wise, mind wise, performance wise. Denis Girard and Carl Desjardins ended up winning the main division at 13 under. Steve Hall and Dave Khalil won the senior division. I think they're about 3 under. Our team I'll throw in our personal thing. We were rolling, and then we just rolled the other way. So my partner and I happened to be leading by 4 through the first 9, believe it or not, and ended up T11. We just Chapman was not good to us this year in any possible way. I knew you were going to.
Tough. Now it's a different format, Chapman format too, right? Like it's not the traditional format of Chapman where it's just pure alternate shot. So
it's Chapman, but it's not alternate shot, is what you're saying. Yeah. It's not pure alternate shot. It's basically you both hit drives and then you cross over, hit your second ball, but of the other person, then you choose which play from there. But doesn't matter if all of a sudden both those first tee balls are not really in
the babushka.
Oh my word!
I'm glad I didn't stick around to watch that.
If you'd watched that front 9,
where'd you hit it on number 1?
I
lost it up in the sun.
I smoked that thing down the middle. I think I had 70. I don't know what I had, 73 yards or something left in. Nice. So it was of
course, boom.
No, we did not actually. We missed that one. You just don't know the green speeds. We birdied 2, and then we birdied 4 through 9. So we just made everything from putts, but that's sort of besides the point. And we'll say the tour is on to the Summer Open on Monday is coming up at Canada, so we'll have a
Nice.
recap of that next week. They've got a full field for that. We'll have an article up on flagstick.com, a preview article tomorrow morning. But yeah, it was good to see a lot of friendly faces out there, people enjoying themselves, and yeah, the Meadows it was in good shape. I'll give them that. I said to Dave,
looked good.
Yeah, it was good to play on, but just a long day.
All right, Ashley Lafontaine of Ottawa went down to Kingston to the to Cataraqui Golf and Country Club for the Ontario Women's Match Play in Eastern Provinces Championship. She came back to Ottawa victorious.
Yeah, she got a couple of trophies out of that one. A few years back, the traditional Eastern Provinces tournament, which has been around for 75 years, they did a little bit of a merger because they have match play. They did that with Golf Ontario and became the Ontario Women's Match Play, and she just kind of ran through her matches. And that was only her second appearance there. She lost in the final to Haley Katona in 2021. But she was able to kind of work her way through there and win those matches. Took down some really solid golfers on the way there. And Ashley, for if people don't know, plays at Elon University, and she is actually headed to the North and South Championship at Pinehurst next week. But she was a number 8 seed. Took out Gabriel Harrison, Nobel Park, then beat Miranda Quinton of Penn State, and then faced Nobel's twin sister Caprice Park in the final, and I think the final was 3-2. So congratulations to Ashley. Great win for her.
Okay, so moving back to the Ottawa area, Ottawa Valley Golf Association, U17, U19 at Greensmere and Rivermead. Two good golf courses there. Good one to finish on. I haven't seen Rivermead in a little while, but
definitely want to get over there and see that for sure.
Carter O'Brien of Prescott won the U19 City and District title with a final round 68. So 68 at Rivermead. That's
solid golf.
Pretty impressive. And U17 boys division, Carson Hurlbert of Camelot fired a 73, but O'Brien won the overall title.
Yeah.
Now, Avery Nordman of the Canadian won the U17 girls title, and Antonia Ho of Ottawa Hunt Club won the U19 girls title, and Nordman won the overall girls title with a -3 in the final round. Wow, that's pretty impressive golf, man.
Yeah, it was.
As a result, Nordman ended up qualifying for the U.S. Junior Girls Championship this week. So she was the co-medalist at the qualifier in Hamilton, New York. Hamilton, New York, where she shot 3 under, including a hole-in-one. Yeah,
so I mean, she just took that momentum and carried it through. It was her first time qualifying for the U.S. Juniors and got through and had an ace there. 152 yards, I believe her dad said, on the 14th hole. So what a way to get through. And she's off to that U.S. Juniors in California, where there are a flock of Canadians. A ton of Canadians have qualified for that. So good to see.
Okay, so we've only got 10 minutes left here before we have to take a break because I don't want to get cut off. But let's just run through. Lise Jubenville won the Quebec Mid Amateur. Yeah, 2-stroke victory at Hawkesbury. She plays at a Highlands Golf Club, and I mean she's no stranger to anybody. I don't think in the Ottawa region. Hall of Famer, extraordinary golfer, great person. Congratulations to her on that victory. So at the end of summer at Trillium, this is year 2.
Yeah, it's year 2 for a World Long Drive event. It's a major now. And very successful this year because it was a major. Had more competitors. They had the women's division up there this year. I was talking to Jody Jenkins, who organizes it yesterday. He said the women just actually killed it. They were really the rock stars there. 60 of the top competitors from the world. They had over 700 spectators out, filled the stands for the nighttime there on Saturday night. And Scotty Pierman of North Carolina won it from the men's side. And then Monica Leaving of Colorado, I think that's her 4th win of the year. She won the women's side. I think Pierman was just under, I think it was like 392 was his drive, and Monica's was 335. So great stuff there. Fun event, just getting bigger and better. And good to see there.
Just a little drop kick, 5-iron cut shot for me.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Simple lob wedge.
We like to keep things upbeat, but a little bit of sad news to break out. We reported this on flagstick.com as well, but Ottawa area-based golf architect Neil Haworth, he passed away this past week. He's the architect of record for Royal Ottawa, was also well known in the golf architecture world, particularly for his extensive work in Asia. We did publish a profile interview with him back in 2016. And he had been a really good resource for us for a number of other articles and content pieces. We do want to convey our condolences to his wife and daughters and everybody who knew him. It's never a happy time to talk about people passing on, but
Neil was a great guy, and after getting this news this week, Neil was just 63. I went back and looked at some of the DMs of conversations and stuff with him, and things we talked about, his love of golf in Scotland and par 3 courses and all sorts of different things, and I'll cherish those conversations, and just sad that he's gone this early, but certainly he leaves quite a legacy, not only with his work, but with his family and friends as well.
Okay. Lastly, KPMG Women's PGA Championship is this week at Sahalee. Brooke Henderson returns to where she won her first major back in 2016. So hopefully she can find a little bit of a 4-round spark.
A little bit of a slow,
not a 1-round spark. We need a 4-round spark.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow start for her yesterday, so hopefully she can pick up the pace a little bit heading into the weekend. And
Elena Sharp and Savannah Gruel are also in the field this week. So good luck, Canadians, as always. Let's get it done. Get it done. Play well. Lastly, before we have to take our break, I just want to remind everybody that the Flagstick Academy Golf Tips, sponsored by Castleview Golf and Country Club, back again this week on all our digital platforms. We've had tremendously great early reaction to these tips on the Academy. We do want to thank all the viewers and subscribers that are jumping on board there and checking that out. It's been better than initially as we expected, but we're hopeful and excited to keep riding the wave. As we've said before, there's only 2 up there out of 24, so there's still 22 more of those Flagstick Academy tips presented by Castleview to post over the next 22 weeks. And that doesn't mean that that's the end of it either after 22 weeks. That's just the series that we're working with right now. So thank you for all the support on those. We'll keep bringing them. You keep watching them. Okay, we got to take a break. And when we come back on the Back Nine of the Flagstick podcast, we're going to we're going to play the interview that Scott did with Jay Fawler, who's the social media and content manager of the PGA Tour. And as we said, with them sort of swinging through with the PGA Tour Americas up in the North American swing, perfect time to do this interview and bring it onto the Flagstick podcast for all of you. So that when we come back from the break, stay with us. You are listening to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod.
Why play the all-new TaylorMade TP5 and 5X? Because your ball should be longer, like half a club longer. Your ball should be more consistent from the fairway. Your ball should feel softer for better control around the greens. But most of all, your ball should perform like it was built just for you. Play the number one ball for you. The all-new TP5 and 5X, only from TaylorMade.
Well, here we are. We're back. The Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. Excited to be here. Very excited to be here. Noticing that my audio on my mic is a little low sometimes, so I'm going to try to be a little closer to the mic on this one. So this is going to sound really.
Don't you remember being in the radio studio and when you were doing the fairways and flagsticks? And what did the producer always say? Eat the mic.
Eat the mic. Eat the mic. I got to be right on top of it. Just feel like I can't be natural. Look at.
I know.
Audio-wise, nobody can see what I'm doing right now, so this is good because I look like a goof. I gotta figure.
You can actually move the mic closer. You don't have to move closer to the mic. There you go.
Maybe it's just maybe it's the angle of the dangle.
Oh, see, when you sit back.
Okay. I'm
There
gonna
you
just
go.
okay. Here we go. I'm gonna put it right up in my face like this. There we go. Okay.
All right. You're good.
All right, we're ready to go. Okay. Like I said, this is the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Bonner and Scott McLeod. Now that we're done talking about microphones, okay, let's get into our back nine. Presented this week by Falcon Ridge Golf Club with 27 holes of fun and challenging golf at great rates. Falcon Ridge Golf Club is a golfing experience you cannot avoid, an experience that just got better by building the first TrackMan range facility in Eastern Ontario. TrackMan Range is all about exciting, easy-to-use features that provide the ultimate range experience for every golfer at every level. That's practice, games, and virtual golf. To book tee times or to book one of their 10 TrackMan range bays, visit falconridgegolf.ca. Okay, so as promised, on the back nine this week, we're going to switch it up. And as we said, because of the PGA Tour Americas starting their North American swing, we thought this would be an awesome time for Scott to do this interview with Jay Fawler, who's the social and content manager of the PGA Tour Pathways. And he joined Scott for an interview as, like we said, as the PGA Tour America starts this North American swing in Victoria this week. And he shares some insights on the tour, his role, and what the PGA Tour is doing to sort of elevate the profile of these feeder tours. So, Scott, I didn't do the interview. You did the interview. So why don't you set up the interview before we switch to the interview?
Well, I think you really did already.
I set it up. So I did.
Exactly.
So maybe it was me doing the interview.
Yeah, no, Jay's a great guy, and we've had a lot of interaction. Does a great job with not only the graphics but storytelling. Really cares about the storytelling, and that's a great part of his role. And we just decided, we've been going back and forth probably almost 2 years now, saying, hey, we need to do an interview, and what better time, as you said, than the start of the this North American swing this week, happening in Victoria at the Uplands Golf Club. This historic event, this has been happening since 1981. It's the longest running event on this circuit. So thanks for Jay for joining us, and I think people will find it interesting. Again, it's a little bit more about the insight behind the scenes, kind of what happens with the tour, but gives you an idea as well, kind of what the tour is about, and the fact that these are the up and coming players that you will see on the Korn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour in the coming years, and there's a reason you need to be paying attention to them. So thanks for Jay for doing the interview.
All right, well, perfect. Good setup. Better than I could have done. I know I really enjoyed the interview, so I'm pretty sure that all of you will enjoy the interview, but I'll leave it up to you to decide. Here is the interview Scott McLeod did with Jay Fawler of the PGA Tour.
All right, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast. Special guest today, somebody who I've interacted with a fair bit on social media, but haven't had the chance to see in person yet. Jay Fawler, the social and content manager for PGA Tour Pathways. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me.
So first off, let's start with a little bit of your history, even with the tour now since 2021. Is that correct?
Yep.
You had to think about that, didn't you? It's been a blur.
No, yeah. Well, yeah, my story is a little bit complicated, but yeah, I've been, loosely based with the tour for, I guess, 5 years, and officially with the tour for 3. So.
Yeah, and your role is an important one because the players are out there obviously doing their thing, but the stories of the tour are certainly important as well. And I mean, that's that connection between not only the industry but the fans and everybody that's out there. Why don't you tell us a little bit though about your background and maybe your history to golf, if anything?
Yeah, never been a good golfer, but definitely your classic weekend golfer is kind of how I would, approach the game and how I kind of got into it. I'm friends with Ryan Robillard, who I'm sure that you're probably a little bit familiar with, and that's how I kind of got, into the golf industry as a job, as a role. The Windsor Championship, which I'm born and raised and currently reside in Windsor, Ontario. So the Windsor Championship came to be, I believe, in 2018, and then at Ambassador Golf Club, which is kind of my home club, and And then in 2019, I had kind of seen a job posting for, like kind of a social media intern. And I reached out to Ryan, who was the, one of the assistant pros at Ambassador at the time, and said, like, I'm interested. And then he's like, well, you're overqualified. I'm like, I don't care. He's like, I'm interested. I always wanted, I guess, sports has always been a big part of my life, and always wanted to find a way to kind of merge the two of sports and making it an actual career. So, um, you know, worked really. That was actually 2019 was when I kind of came on board with the Windsor Championship, and that was the year that Corey Connors and Adam Hadwin had also. It was during Canada Day, and they kind of did a charity 9-hole skins match, and very, very fun, very, very eye opening, I guess, as to my first real experience with a professional golf tournament, and all of the nuances and things that are required to throw an event like that. So just kind of, I guess, fell in love with it. COVID happened, and then the world kind of turned upside down, and come 2021 is when representative from I guess Mackenzie Tour at the time reached out to me and said that they're going to try and have this Canada only tour across Canada over these kind of 8 tournaments, and if I could help from a social media standpoint, and just kind of getting all of the content that they were capturing on site with a really small crew. And I said absolutely, like, whatever you need me to do. It was just kind of the next step in my career. And then before you know it, PGA Tour Canada happened, PGA Tour Americas happened, and here I am 3 years later on the path of this team.
It's been quite the progression for sure. And you had the opportunity, I believe, this year to do an event on the Corn Ferry Tour as well. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, what do you see out there? I mean, from I guess the thing is, a lot of people haven't had the experience to go out and be involved around the tour, and your opportunity to go and be around it is sort of mirrors exactly what the average audience member is. I mean, they're going down there and they're seeing that for the first time, even as an avid sports person and an avid golfer. What surprised you about the tour? Maybe the players, operations, anything in particular that jumped out at you right away?
I would say, back to what I was saying about my first experience at Ambassador, was just the amount of work that goes into throwing a golf tournament. I think to the average sports fan, golf is kind of seen as a leisure activity, and it's very, very slow paced. And I will attest to, I've done some work in other sports and some videography and photography in other sports, and it's significantly more fast paced. But when you're on a golf course, whether it comes to volunteers, like every single hole needs water, every single, there's walking scores with every single group, and you don't really realize, first of all, the how long a day is. You don't really realize how long it takes 154 people to play 18 holes within a day. So that in itself is a feat, just to be able to get 150 guys to be able to finish a round. But then also, I mean, you think about the impact that, like, even a tour like ours that is considered, a stepping stone on a professional golfer's career, the amount of support that we get from the local communities that, a PGA Tour Americas event is held in. I think we're probably around over $7 million raised over the last 10 or so years. So, we definitely have the support from the local communities that we have events. And whether it comes to, I would say the average tournament requires at least 200 to 300 volunteers. So that's people that, we get the privilege of a facility and a course giving up their course for a week. And we all know how tough it is to get a tee time now with how popular golf is. So just the ability to get a course for a week and have their members give up a course for a week is something that we don't take for granted, and we really appreciate. But we do see a lot of those members end up volunteering and getting close to these professionals. And our Victoria event that we're approaching next week, there's people that have volunteered there for 30 years, and they love it as much as we do, and it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, I think one of the things that most people are surprised by, if they have a chance to maybe get in the media room or around an event, they assume that, anybody that's involved with the operations, it's, oh, well, you're getting to be hang around a golf tournament for a week. It's not like we're sitting around, just chowing on food and hanging out and watching the golfers. There's a lot to it, as you said, long days for everybody involved, from the volunteers, players, caddies, you name it, everything. Now, from your side, I mean, obviously, I'll label you as a creative because I mean that's what you do, and you transmit those stories and share those stories in multiple different formats for the tour, which can be challenging but also enjoyable as well. I mean, what do you look for out there, visually or otherwise, to help tell the stories of the tours?
I will. I'll bring it back to one of the first um colleagues that I had, and I guess I would consider him a boss, would be Laurie Livesey, who kind of oversaw international tours. And, I learned a lot from him. And when I first kind of got thrown into the mix being on site for a tour, like I was saying, I kind of did that one season remotely where I was just working from home. But when I got on site, my first event was in California in for a qualifying school. And he said to me, he's like, any one of these guys that is in this field right now can shoot a 63. But it's like it's our responsibility and our duty to give the audience and the fans a reason to care, a reason to root for why they shot a 63. Right. So I love PGA Tour Americas, and even being at Corn Ferry Tour events, because we get access to players that a PGA Tour event or even a PGA Tour staff might not have the access and the level of comfortability that we have with our players that PGA Tour would. And we travel with these guys. We're on the same flights going from event to event. A lot of the times, I would say over half of our field is within the first or second year of them turning pro. So a lot of them have family members that are following them at every single event, and they're just as excited as the players are to kind of start their professional journey. So the things that we look for is just to give them reason to care, right? There's always that second layer of storytelling, and that's our primary job, is to find a reason as to, where do they go to school? Who are they traveling with? What teammates do they have? A lot of our players coming out of college have direct ties to very, very notable names on the PGA Tour, right? So tying into that, if we go to our first event of the year, Clay Fiegler, who won, in a playoff, got his first professional victory. He played at Pepperdine with Sahith, right? So it's like the next week we were able to ask Sahith a question in Houston about Clay, and we got that second layer because there's really not that big of a gap. And I'm sure, Scott, you can attest to, there's not that big of a gap between the players that are playing on our tour and the players that are winning on Sundays on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and those guys play a lot of practice rounds together in with the Woodlands as well. So with a number of other players and stayed close. What is it that fans are missing out? That if they've never been around the tour. I mean, you mentioned a number of things as far as the stories and the backgrounds. I mean, fans are used to looking at scores. That's what they look at. That's how they relate the success level of a player more than anything. But in your mind, what is it that they're missing out from the texture, I guess, of the tour and the players and professional golf in general, in your opinion?
How good they are.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and I would never ever consider myself a good golfer by any means, but the clubs sound different. Like when you get on site, it's different. The way that they prepare is different now than even it was 5 years ago, right? Like they take care of their bodies. They require planning and preparation ahead of their events, ahead of their tee times, and to see how meticulous they are in how they cover their tournament week is incredible. And I always say to anybody, like, you're never going to get closer and better access to the future stars of the PGA Tour than you would with an America's event, and even a Corn Ferry Tour event for that matter. Having been there a couple weeks ago, the crowds are still there, but the access you have and the ability to follow players, and they're shooting roughly the exact same scores on the PGA Tour. and chances are the fans are local as well, right? So chances are that these players are playing a course that you've already played on, and they're playing it completely different. And that layer in itself is so interesting, right? Because when I think I had a tweet last year where I said, it's so humbling seeing players just absolutely demolish a course that I grew up playing. Like the first day that we were at Ambassador last year, Stuart McDonald broke the course record shot of 60. And it was not that it was an effortless 60, but just, I followed him for probably 9 holes on that Thursday. And the way that he played it and the way that I've played it for the last 10 years is so different that it's a feat in itself to see these kind of players play courses that myself and fans have grown up playing or playing on the weekends, and seeing how different they play it.
Yeah, it's always funny to talk to, members at clubs and so forth. And, they get excited when a tour event is coming to them for the first time. And I kind of remind them, doesn't matter what the weather is, doesn't matter whatever the conditions are, someone will shoot 63 every single day. I mean, they're just that good. They might not do it 4 days in a row, but they're going to do it for sure.
And there's cases too where like you'll think that you're playing from the tips at your local course, and then when the tournament shows up, like there's a tee box that you didn't even really knew was out there, like 30 yards back, and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't even know that tee box existed. That's always fun.
Yeah, we see that all the time. So what's it look like for you in a typical week when you're on site? I mean, I know from, my perspective, attending lots of events and so forth, but what does it look like for you? Because, the mediums have changed over the years, and you have to be very active, not only on, just social media in general, but multiple platforms. And you're having to do a lot of, creative during the week as well. So what's it look like for you?
I would say working on site, it kind of flies by, and you like the difference between covering an event and, with part of my role on Pathways is I do a lot of like desk support and helping tournaments that have other staff on site and helping them get out their stuff on social. So, when I'm on a desk support type of role and helping out tournaments, I get a little bit more creative as far as, making graphics and making things look nice. But when you're on site, you're just trying to relay the information that's happening on site as quickly as possible. One of the hindrances that we have on, a lot of the Corn Ferry events and America's events is that there isn't TV coverage. So it's not as simple as just tuning in the Golf Channel, seeing every single shot from a player in that regard, right? So we kind of try and pick and choose our spots for the highlights that we get. But we try and cover the top of the leaderboard as best as we can, and then getting that secondary layer of storytelling is where we kind of excel at with our post-round interviews, right? And we figure out what was working in their game or who they're traveling with, and you'll get the odd time where somebody loses their clubs or something like that. And on site Thursdays and Fridays are definitely longer days because of the amount of players on the course. But once you get into the weekend and the leaderboard kind of starts developing itself, that's where we kind of shine and excel at highlighting, the top guys. And, I'll probably, if we catch each other at that Ottawa event, you'll see me running around with my phone in one hand and my camera in the other, and probably hanging a tripod off my shoulder as well. So, a man of many hats, like I said, but it's tough to really like own in on one platform. You just kind of see what you're capturing on site and then naturally know where it belongs and where it goes.
Yeah, I love it, love it, love it. Things have progressed a lot in the last number of years. They changed from, my early days where it was just print and photography. And then now, obviously videography, the graphic stuff, as I mentioned, social. Where do you think the content around golf will progress in the future? Where do you think maybe it has to go? And where do you think the potential is for it to go and to tell those stories? Because in the end, it's really just storytelling.
Yeah, it's an interesting time in golf for sure, because the sport in general has exploded over the last couple of years, and we've noticed a shift ourselves in the way that golf is covered. You look at golf YouTube, it's kind of an animal in itself, and the way that they cover events and the way that they structure their content is completely different than a traditional golf tournament, even 2 years ago. So we've definitely, I've definitely personally leaned into the golf YouTube influencer, for lack of a better word, and how they cover their events. And I think the main takeaway that we have is that it has to be fun, right? And there has to be a comical aspect to it, and that's where everybody is trying to win a golf tournament at the end of the day, and that's the number one storyline that we have. But we try and get a little bit more lackadaisical and getting a little bit more exciting stuff during the early week, because we do have your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of a tournament week is where we get to have fun on the course a little bit.
Sure.
And we, like last year, for example, we started our season in Victoria, and it was a week after RBC. And so we had players, like, we mapped out a 72-foot putt. We had a bunch of our Canadian Golf Canada guys try and make a 72-foot putt, right? And that's something that you might not be able to experience or might not see on a PGA Tour social channel, but we try and have a little bit more fun. And like I was saying, the access that we have to these players allows us to be able to do that kind of stuff rather effortlessly, right? Like it's just a matter of asking the player, showing up on the course, and having some fun with it. So
yeah, and they're starting to understand engagement differently as well. I mean, your audience is changing too. I mean, as you mentioned, golf has exploded. The typical golfer is changing out there. How they view content and the content that they like to see is a little bit different as well. But some people may look at that and go, "Ooh, some might say it's a barrier because they come from an older view, but really it's an opportunity more than anything."
Yeah, like we're still the game in itself, it hasn't changed. Very, very few aspects of the game of golf have changed, but you're seeing the younger audience interpret it in a different way, right? And I don't consider myself part of that younger audience anymore, but it's very, very interesting to see the type of content that even shows up in my personal algorithm, right? That is golf related, that I would have never, anticipated enjoying.
Sure.
But
Same.
it's capturing, and they've mastered the art. And I think that the attention spans have definitely affected that. And probably for the worse, when you consider golf is a long game and it takes a long time to play 18 holes, and attention spans are being shortened. It's very, very interesting to look at how golf content and how an actual tournament round adapts to a shorter attention span.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as we said, the mediums have changed, but even then, you mentioned YouTube stuff. I mean, there's a lot of long form stuff that's happening on YouTube. So it's not all, Instagram Reels or TikTok or anything like that. There is some long form engagement. It may happen in pieces, podcast, same thing. So everything changes a little bit. What are you looking forward to this year? You're about to begin the more North American swing here for the tour. The tour is finished up down in South America. Anything in particular personally that you're looking forward to as the tour heads across the country and has a slight dip into the US as well?
I like personally, I'm just looking to grow. With I've had this new role as part of the Pathways team, and for those that don't know, PGA Tour Pathways is, I like to just say anything but the PGA Tour. So it's the Korn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour Americas, and PGA Tour U are the main three things that I'm kind of day to day involved with. And this will be the first year that I'm like actually part of that team and have the resources available to me. So I think that you might have even noticed that we get a little bit more Canadian like love even on the PGA Tour channels, and I don't want to take full credit for that, but like an instance where we got Tommy Fleetwood and Matthew Anderson, like our number one who's Canadian, together at RBC. Like that's something that would have been probably a little bit more of a difficult task a couple of years ago, but now that we're part of this Pathways team and we've created this family structure, it's a little bit easier of an ask to just get involved and get our players some notoriety that they might not have gotten before. From a storytelling, it's hard to pick a better time for professional like golf in Canada. I don't know, you might even have a better understanding, but I don't know of any time that there's been a better time for golf in Canada. It's insane.
Yeah.
And everybody that myself and Canadian golf fans in general are watching on Sundays winning tournaments and contending on the PGA Tour, it seems like every week, but all of those guys got their start on PGA Tour Americas, which was, Mackenzie Tour, Canadian Tour, however you want to call it, but they've all dipped their toes and have rich history within our tour. And the amount of Canadians and up and coming and very, very good Canadians that we have on our tour, it's only a matter of time. And I think that we all know that they're next, right? So
yeah.
You're looking at your Matthew Andersons, your Noah Steeles, that people have a fair understanding. Depending on your golf knowledge, you have a fair understanding. I think Matthew has definitely excelled over this last stretch, and he's playing some really, really good golf. But then you also look at your Joey Savoyas, right, who has been a name in your Chris Holgos, and there's a lot of people that it's only getting better. So I don't think I'm allowed to have Canadian bias, but being the traditional Canadian on staff, they know if there's a Canadian backstory, who to go to. But I'm also really, really looking forward to our new PGA Tour U class. A lot of the players that just graduated and earned status on our tour are going to be essentially turning pro now, and they finished their NCAAs, they got their status, and a lot of them will be turning pro in Victoria. So we'll probably, if I had to ballpark it, between Q School and our PGA Tour U class, there's going to be 30 guys that are playing their first professional golf tournament next week. So that's where I get excited about, just seeing them grow and lean into that.
Yeah, I think that's the greatest part about this tour is, how the players progress. And, here's a great opportunity for, golf fans to go out and see the players that are next, that will be working their way up and making their way to the best tours in the world. Thanks for this. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to following the tour, following your content, and hope to catch up with you in Ottawa. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Scott.
Well, there you go. See, I told you everybody would enjoy it.
I hope
great interview. It was a really, really good interview, and you're right. I mean, it does kind of provide a lot of insight as to what's going on, like the inner workings sometimes of some of these things. You see the PGA Tour as this big, thing, and you don't realize that there's a lot of little things going on the inside of this big thing.
Yeah, there's a lot that makes a week happen in tournament weeks, and we've been there lots of times and seen how these events work, and it's just nice to expose that to people, for them to get to see and understand kind of what goes on, and the things like social media and content just doesn't happen, and it's great that they are doing this level of storytelling, and it's just going to be that much better for the golf community and the golfers in general.
There you go. Perfect. See, and we're going to do this kind of thing from time to time, not all the time, because we do like to hear ourselves talk. So, but I guess Scott did the interview, so I guess he got to listen to himself talk for
there you go
an extra time anyway. But yeah, so good show. Solid show, Scott McLeod.
Good.
But we have to stop because there's only so much show we can do, and we have to move on. I do want to say before we disappear that we will have on the next episode of the Flagstick podcast, and coming up on flagstick.com, we will have a little announcement to make about our involvement in the OVGA Junior Intersectionals.
Oh, cool.
A little announcement.
Okay.
So we'll leave it at that. Okay. Well, we're going to get out of here for this week. We want to thank you for listening. We want to thank our sponsors, obviously, Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and, of course, our presenting sponsor this week, TaylorMade Golf. What if the golf ball you're playing isn't the number one ball for you? Meet the all-new TP5 and TP5X from TaylorMade. Whether you prefer the softest 5-layer tour ball in TP5 or the fastest, now that's a half club longer in TP5X, you'll be playing a golf ball that performs like it was built just for you. Available in white, yellow, and picks. And you can personalize it with my symbol. No matter what you choose, every TP5 and TP5X is designed to help your game. Head on over to TaylorMadeGolf.ca today to find the number one ball for you. Well, we do hope that you are enjoying what you're hearing and what you're watching. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, and Facebook, and subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell. Make sure that you don't miss anything. I'm going to not ever say miss an episode
because there's
you're going to miss. There's too much stuff there. Yep. Don't miss anything. And of course, get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered there every day. Subscribe to Flagstick newsletter. It comes out 3 times a week, and the latest stuff is shot right up to that newsletter and sent right to your inbox. It's like clockwork. And just as this podcast will show up in everybody who subscribes, it'll show up in their inbox in about an hour, and boom, you're listening to the Flagstick podcast. Simple. As always, we do appreciate you tuning in, but until next week, I'm Jeff Fawler.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.